from their desks. Services that may be required in an office, in different offices. Each desk in an office requires a telephone and a computer, whether it is mobile phone or a laptop. Those days normally just have the desktop. There are other desktops. Some organizations still do use that, while some other organizations now have up to, hub small laptops, and you must have provision for phones, either mobile phones or desk phones or IP phones. In large offices, power and data cables may be run under a raised floor to the decks, or Another alternative is in small offices to have a dado trunking around the wall, where they are just put on the wall, where they just have trunking running on the perimeter of the wall, and socket outlets where you can plug your computers to, both for data and voice. And also other alternatives are to use the ceiling power poles, where you just have power poles mounted, and that power poles carry all the connections that is required for the decks. This can assist space planning of decks away from the perimeter walls. Partition. Open offices are often divided into smaller offices for managers and meeting rooms, etc. Also, the following factors should be considered and be taken into account when you are doing the office partition, when you are breaking the office into different partitions for managers, or to create smaller offices or small enclosed offices. One, you look at the heat stroke cooling zones, zoning, and the ventilation. You also look at the lighting, and the light switches and emergency lightings for the areas. You also look at the voice and data cablings that have been done to ensure that each offices have the required voice and data cabling to be able to activate themselves. Then also look at the fire alarm and fire escape route, fire alarm system, so that you have in each enclosed spaces in the office, you must have a fire alarm system or smoke detectors installed in those spaces. So in case of fire, it can trigger the fire panel, so that you can be able to manage around that and be able to run that. And also, the offices must be positioned in such a manner that they have easy access to fire escape routes, to the emergency exits of the offices, so that the offices are not located in such a manner as that when there's an emergency and the person inside the office is stuck, they must be located in such a manner that the person has easy access to connect the fire exit. And also, you need to look at the sound and acoustics. You must be able to manage the sound attenuation inside the office that is partitioned, so that when you have someone that is partitioned, that has a partition office, the person do not struggle. Such when he's having a meeting or having discussions, every other person in the open office will be hearing the discussion. So the office must be padded in such a manner that it has a little bit of sound insulation. We're looking at the next one. Next module is to look at the space planning process. Space planning process. When you're planning a space, there are some processes that you need to take. One of the processes you need to take, you need to interview several architects, space planners. You need to know what they are required to do. You need to select a professional that understands your organization's objectives in detail. By the time you are doing the interview, you will know. And when you ask them questions, a good space planner, these are some of the things that should give you tips when you are making that discussion or interview for space planners. Is a good space planner can quickly interpret how your organization operates, especially through the use of your company's organogram. They can make suggestions to improve the efficient flow within the office space and how they work, how the departments interact with each other. This will translate into a design that is balanced, that balances the company's visions and the space utilization. Also look at departmental adjacent and future growth. You look at the departments that are adjacent to each other that can communicate with each other, so they are not too far from each other. Department like admin and finance, they will always work close to each other. Admin and HR, they work in close proximity with each other. If you have your HR on a particular level, and that same level you have your project, and then you have your HR, your admin very far, or you have finance very far. At the end of the day, you see that people will be moving from the HR to all those spots. But if you put those departments in such a manner that they are close to each other, they will function well and makes they'll easily function together as their jobs descriptions are almost aligned to each other. What you need to do first when you are looking at plan office, think first about how your business will use the space. Then you look at the will each of the employee need a dedicated workstation? These are questions you need to ask yourself if that is required. Can you utilize a more open floor plan when you're applying the offices? Do they mind? Because open floor plan saves a lot of space and also helps to save the consumption of energy within an office space. When you have more open plans, you use less lighting, you use less air conditioning system, and when you use less of that, at the end of the day, you discover that you save on your power cost. You save on your power cost. And does the business have customers visiting often? If you have customers visiting often, it means that you must have enough meeting room in that organization to be able to cater for the visitors as they come. They must be able to visit and see how they manage. Room for growth. Companies aim to grow, not to remain stagnant. As you are doing your planning, you must also have an eye to know that companies always want to grow and not to remain stagnant. As job increase, new business develop, there will be need for more space to house employee in every department. Expansion option should be considered when negotiating your lease. Of course, these days, this is not really what happens in most organizations, because a lot of people are just leaving the country and they are the jackpot syndrome. Most organizations are becoming thinner and thinner in terms of their employee size. Fewer persons are doing what a lot of people were doing. More people work. And apart from the jackpot syndrome, also you're having issues of finance in most organizations. They're trying to be financial smart with the economy of today, where the dollar is just running riot and people do not understand how the naira will be stabilized, so that at least you will have a semblance of planning, so you can plan properly for the year with your projected income and so forth and so on. And then you look at to properly plan for growth, take into account your current headcount, compare it to your future growth projections by analyzing and understanding what the maximum headcount may look like in the next 3 to 5 years. You limit any unforeseen hiccups, foreseeable hiccups in the future regarding your occupancy situation. Plan for the future employees now, so that when your company does grow, you already have space to put them. It's not when they are growing that you now start looking for space. You already have plans for it. There is a risk in planning big. Of course, I've just mentioned that if you are able to meet your growth goals, you may end up, if you are unable to meet up your growth goals, you may end up with too much space to be used. You may need to consider a subleasing your office in that case where you have too much space, where you have excess space, or evaluating your space planning. Be sure there is a sublease provision in your lease that addresses this potential issue. Like I've been mentioned when we started, the sublease agreement is something that you must take note of as facility manager, especially when your office is going to get a new facility. You must ensure that you have sublease clause in that lease agreement that authorizes you to be able to sublease part of the office space when you do not need it. Then one of the ongoing debates for a long time now is whether it is better to have an open office or enclosed cubicle. That's enclosed offices. Which direction should you take is a question. Should you consider open office? There are some advantages and disadvantages. that decision strongly depends on your organization, your industry. What makes your team perform better? Do you get better results by your team collaborating and interacting? Do your employee perform better in a focused, productive, driven environment? Or you may also look at how they work. It depends on how they work and how your organization manages spaces that you know how to go about the use of these spaces. Then going remote. Most offices now, that most organizations, they are beginning to do this. They are going to go remote where with the growth of the cloud commuting, with the growth of the cloud system, many businesses have begun utilizing remote working plans, whether they like it or not, because of the issue of COVID-19. Most organizations were forced to ensure and allow their staffs to be working remotely, to give employee a bit more freedom in working from home or away from the office. Where some offices I know now, they are stabilized. They do they alternate themselves. Some people work twice a week in 1 week, and the other week they work 3 times a week. So they do alternate. Some do alternate week. They work this week, they don't work next week. They don't come to the office next week. Is they work remotely, and some offices just make you choose whichever one you like. But you may probably have a day that you're always present in the office. They just tell you, well, if you want to be working remotely, go ahead. Just ensure you do your work, and you must be present at the office every Mondays for meetings or thereabouts. If your company has a remote working policy, consider the utilization ratio. Consider the percentage of time the employee spends in the office, and you need to look at how that manages. Then we'll now look at a good idea may be to include areas where your floor plan is flexible with movable functions, with movable furnitures, where you don't have so much restrictions, where people can work from anywhere. Then specific considerations may be given to rooms with specific use, such as large lunch rooms, breakout rooms or breakout spaces, private meeting areas. You must see the big picture from time to time when you are doing your planning, to be sure that the office is a good and cozy atmosphere to work. Space allocation options are the ways spaces are managed in different organizations. Now we have the hoteling system. Hoteling system is when before you come to the office, you need to book for your space, just like a hotel. You go to a hotel to book for a room for a period of time. Maybe you go and book for, you pay for, you're going to stay in the hotel for like 3 days, you book for 3 days. You're going to stay for 1 month, you book for 1 month, you stay for one night, you book for one night. That's the same system that some office operate. A method of the office management in which workers dynamically schedule with their use of workspaces such as desks, cubicles, and offices. An alternative approach to the more traditional method of permanently assigning seats to individual hoteling is reservation-based assigning seats. With hoteling, workers are not assigned to their own desks. Instead, they reserve a desk for their temporary use each time they require it for just the days that they are expected to work. Now, if your organization is running this kind of system, is the only thing that you have to do is that you will call the admin office and tell them, oh, you book yourself in that I'll be coming to the office next week and I will be staying for 3 days. They will check the schedule and see if the office is free enough to be able to accommodate you. When they have a law that is free enough for you to come, they will let you know to come, and that 3 days is strict out. So that if you are done by the third day and you're refusing to go, so what some offices do is that they connected your pass is connected to the electricity and the system around that office, so that by the time your time expires, the supply of power into that room cuts off, and then your AC cuts off, and at the end of the day, you are not able to function. and it makes the place uncomfortable for you. So, and to remind you that you have overstayed your bounds, you need to go. That's what some offices do, but much more, some others do a hybrid system where they have an audience in such a manner where from time to time people know exactly what they need to do. They come to the office and then book the space there in the office. While some other spaces, offices, what they do, they call the admin to book for the space. Some what they do also is that they book for meeting rooms. They have maybe like 2 or 3 meeting rooms in the organization, and each meeting room, all departments will book when they are available, and they book from admin. And once your time is up in those meetings, the whole system shuts down and kicks you out. The benefit of a tailing system is what saving costs on commercial real estate, create opportunity for staff to mingle and collaborate more. Then also we also have the hot dexing system, an office organization system in which multiple staffs use the single physical workstation or surface during different periods of the day or different period of the year. The hot desk is often found in office space with flexible schedules for employees, where some people do shift. Some people will work in the morning and others will work in the evening. If your time is 8 to 4, 8 to 3 o'clock, when the next person is coming, you just pack your bag and badges, you leave the office, and the next person takes over. That work decks that different people can come and work on is normally referred as the hot desk, where people can just come in and do the work they need to do and go, where nothing is permanent in terms of the workstation. Hot dexing is often found, a primary motivation for hot dexing is reduced cost through space saving up to 30% in some cases, but valuable in cities or countries where the cost of real estate is very high. Telecommuting. This is where you have things like teleconferences where a work arrangement in which employees do not commute to the central place. They don't come to the central place, workplace. They can be in different locations. Maybe you have the head office is somewhere in Victoria Island, and they have offices in somewhere like Ikeja, in Ikorodu, in Badagry, and these offices are functional from time to time. Everybody just calls, especially when they're having telecommuting meetings. Everybody calls into it with their TV on, and they see you in your office, and you connect to the meeting. Many telecommuters work from home, while others use mobile telecommunication technology to work from coffee shops. Use office employees they use coffee shops and different locations for what they do. Telecommuting is used by office employees to work while on vacation. When they're in different parts of the world, they also can work from there. Benefits of telecommuting allow workers to work greater. They have a greater freedom regarding work hours and work location. It gives employees more flexibility to balance work and physical obligations and also life obligations. Open space plan. Okay, open space plan is when you just have the open plan, floor plans where people can walk on the open space. Is the use of large and open space and minimize the use of small or enclosed office spaces such as private office. Evaluation of open space, open plan. Neither open or closed plan offices are perfect for all situations or for all individuals. The right balance is required. Any office design is likely to involve trade-offs for the workers, some positive and some negative, some positive and some negative. Advantages of open plan. The open plan may improve communication and collaboration among workers, enhance the flow of information amongst team members, increased collaboration resulting from an open plan workspace can lead to business innovation and advancement. For most Gen Z's organization now, they use more of office plan, which gives them more flexibility, and it reduces reduction of heat and cooling and electricity expense, provide greater flexibility in accommodation and improving the personal needs of individuals. Some disadvantages that it may reduce concentration and productivity because some people can't work in areas where they have a lot of people. They are shy when people are there when they are working. They get easily distracted. Lack of privacy is another potential problem with open plan office spaces. Open plan layouts also facilitates the spread of disease, especially during a pandemic like the COVID-19, where somebody sneezes and everybody just catches the COVID virus. Business open output also may be reduced by the high rate of absenteeism because of sicknesses, and also rise from legal and ethical issues stemming from compromising confidentiality in regards to clients and colleagues. Where you have open offices, it means that you don't have there's no confidentiality in terms of handling issues and cases. Breakout spaces. A current management fashion involves at least partially reinventing the office spaces. In such environment, workers no longer have their own desks or workspaces. A quiet area from the hustle and bustle of the workspace where informal meetings are held, where you can also go there and relax and still work. A space open to employee or visitors that is separate from the general work area that helps them to relieve stress of the formal way of working. Benefits of having a well-designed breakout area can serve many purposes. Provide a space for information catch-up, such as on meetings, where you can have meetings, and also where you have magazines and information areas. You can have the TV there for news while you're within the office. You can just throw there and listen, and then take a cup of coffee. You can have for grabbing a bite of eat at lunch, and somewhere to greet and meet visitors or clients just away from your work desk. Importantly, an area where staff can relax away from their PC screen. Also promotes employee wellness, improves posture, and helps to relieve stress. It helps to relieve stress. That's module 4. We're going to module 5, move management. At this time, we'll take a 5 minutes break. Okay, let's just say a 10 minutes break. So I hope that's fine with us, and then we're going to move management for the next few sessions. We'll take a 10 minutes break. We'll come back by 6:10. 6:10. I hope that's okay with us.
Yes, sir. It's okay.
I can't.
Yeah,
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Go
I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you. Can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
All right, great. We'll go into move management. Move management is also every facility manager. They are expected to be able to manage every form of move. Literally, to explain what move is when you are relocating from one office space to another office space. The literary word that we use to is that when you are packing, you are changing apartments. You want to pack from one house to another house. You're moving office from one office to another office. Is move management generally. And this role is basically a facility manager's role. It is very important for the facility manager to know that when there is any form of move, they are the ones that really manage the activities around the move. The role of facility manager in move management. In many organizations, Office layouts are subject to frequent changes. This process is referred to as about that. These moves are normal by the facility management department. The facility manager plans for the following: some amount of space to be provided by staff members. Look at the fire safety arrangements. Look at the lighting levels of the space. Look at the ventilation and the cooling control of the space. Also, you look at the welfare arrangements such as toilets. And then normally, before any form of move happens, there is always a reason for it. Reason for move, some of the general ones that we have is: one, for expansion or growth; for reduction of cost, where the cost of the real estate is becoming too much and they need to reduce, probably look for a smaller area for them, for the organization to be able to manage. To consolidation of offices, maybe you have offices in different locations and you want to bring them into one particular location, you consolidate your office. And then you can also look at the access to new markets. And sometimes it may also be because of the lease renewal or lease expiration, where the lease has expired and you need to get a new place, or you want to renew the lease. Then also look at the reorganization for better facility. Maybe you want to get a better facility for the organization and how they work. You also look at improving your brand perception, where your brand, you need to get more visible to be able to your customers, so they know you and see you more. Then also enhance employee morale. You want to make sure that the employee have a good working space to ensure that they are very productive in their work. Then also to look at upgrade technology, and then also look at closer to clients and competitors so that you're not left behind. So the factors to be considered when vetting a new office, when you're moving to a new office, there's some factors they look at that you need to consider. When you look at the power and the cooling system, look at the electrical system, and look at the plumbing system. Electrical and plumbing are very, very important areas that you need to look at as facility managers, because that is where your core activities will begin to work, especially when you are getting a new facility. As a facility manager, you must be able to vet the new office to be sure that that office is not a death trap for you, and that the office in itself should be an improvement from where you are presently. So one of the things I always advise that when you are vetting a new office as a facility manager, you should check out the electrical wiring system. Go to the DBs, check that there's not been any form of bond around that DBs and around any form of, because if you have had anything like that, you may need to rewire the building, because it means probably they've been switched here and there from time to time, and you're not sure what level of wiring that has been used there. Also, plumbing, you need to look at and be sure that they don't have pipes that are leaking in between the walls. To be sure that everything is intact, because if you see all these leakage that is shown on the walls, you may keep breaking and finding out what the problem is before you eventually get it. So it's something that you need to look at. Another thing you need to look at is the waste disposal system, how the Lagos State waste management can come into your facility to take out their waste. If you are not able to do that, of course, you know that Lagos State these days, they fine offices or fine facilities for that. Look at sufficient physical space in terms of parking, communication, service providers. Ensure that the places that you are taking for new offices, that the general network that your people are using, GSM network that are using, that you have enough network around that areas, or probably you negotiate with the network provider to provide a mask close to you guys. Look at the wireless connectivity, look at phone and computer cabling system, and then look at the IP security system where you're using the CCTV cameras from time to time. When the move is going to happen, there are some steps that you need to take. One of the things you need to do first is that the reason for the move, which we have discussed. The next thing is that you get a checklist. Know your key dates, which we are going to see through the this presentation. You also check. You need to set a budget. Brief your property agent. Book your office move company. Do not try to do your move yourself. It is very important for you, even at these days now, it's better for you to get a move company, pay them to move your stuff, because even the area boys on the road now, they won't allow you rest. You will pay them at every junction, but the move companies already have players with them. They already know how to deal with these people, and they can move around. And while the move companies you are getting, you must get what we call goods in transit insurance, just in case anything happens to the stuff you are moving from your old office to your new office, to be sure that insurance is covering all the items, that the items are covered. Plan your new office design and space plan. Plan for IT relocation, that is your server room. For offices that have very robust server rooms, you must plan that separately. And finalize your office lease and do what we call the dilapidation or reinstatement. This is always a clause in most lease agreements where you will reinstate the building that you are leaving to the state that you met it when you came in. One advice when you want to do that, don't ever do it yourself. If it's possible, negotiate with the landlord or the landlady or the property owners and just pay them for that. It's just neater and better. Managing office move challenges. Allow plenty of time when you are doing the move. Manage and guide staff through the office move in itself. Play to everyone's strength. Be prepared for disruptions, because disruptions will definitely come. Preparing the new location. When you are planning for the new location, you need to create a new office plan to layout. This is where your move committee will be needful and helpful. It's always difficult to move into a new space when you have to figure out where everyone goes. That takes a lot of time. So allow the people do their planning, allow them do the design, and then you just vet and send to senior management for them to sign off, so that everybody knows where they are going and are able to manage the move when the activity starts. Make sure you know where each piece of item of furniture will be placed in the new office and everywhere the employees will be sitting. The more the detailed plan, the better. Office move guidelines. We are going into the guideline that will help you through the move process. Take the time to plan efficiently for this move. One way to make the office move efficient is to minimize the amount of time that the office move takes in itself. Now, this if you are doing your move, if you are relocating your office, if you have multiple floors, it's advisable to move a floor per day. If you have just a single floor, as much as possible, do your move in a day. Don't spread the move into more than 2 to 3 days, because it becomes clumsy. It's better for you to do it within the shortest possible time. To save time, ensure that you familiarize yourself with the new location, understand exactly the dimension of the new rooms, record the difference in spaces and formats of the rooms, make sure your old or new desks, chairs, the filing cabinets, etc., will be accommodated accordingly. Ensure everyone involved knows their new dimension. Create a floor plan before the move. Make sure that every employee has a copy of that plan so that when they get to the new location, they know where they are going to. Communication during an office move is very essential. So you must communicate with everyone. Everyone needs to know what they are doing and where they are going. Give clear instructions where every piece of furniture needs to be positioned. It is easier and more understandable to make the office move to the movers. That is, it is easier and better for the movers to do the work. The quicker the move will be and the more efficient it will be when you give the professionals to do it. The role of supervisors during an office move. Ensure staff follows the instructions during the office move. Create an office move guide. Make sure every staff member have a copy of that move guide. Employees' responsibility during the office move. Make sure that the employees are well informed. Make sure that they will be responsible for packing their items. It's very important so that to minimize losses. Lose items during an office move. Items inside bookcases, shelves, desks, wall hangs, and cupboards, and such that you must give them cartons and let them pack it in and secure it by themselves with tape and probably write their names on it. Filing cabinets may not be empty, they just need to be locked and secured, fastened properly, and then just taped around and able to be carried to the new location. Prepare viewing decks for the office move. Ensure that all the contents of the decks are cleared out. Ensure such that paper clips, pencils, and other materials that are loose are put into cartons. Glass should be protected with paper or other packing materials. The move companies, they know how to manage that, so just allow them to do their job. Moving electrical machines, disconnect and dismantle computer equipment as specified. Remove all fluids from copiers. Make sure loose items are stored and labeled correctly. Office move checklist. Just I won't spend too much time on this. It's just something that you can read on that. You just have some checklists. You just ask yourself the questions: are the desks empty? Check. Supplied cabinets cleared? Yes. Filing cabinets cleared. Filing drawers locked. Office the wall items taken down. Breakable items properly packed. Computers or other machines disconnected. Do not move tags placed. Liquid drained out of equipment. Desk pad and then chair pad labeled. Have a set of spare keys available. Make sure that your internet connection is ready to go and that your phones and fax machines are working properly. Make sure the electricity works. Make sure the bathroom works. Employ professional movers, like I said. They are conscious of just how to set the logistics. They understand furniture and the guide that they can be anticipated to deal with any form of changes within the office space. They have appropriate resources to help make the transfer secured and simple. They have the capacity to prepare different phases of transferring them nicely. They utilize color codes to know where precisely a piece of furniture item will be stored. in a new area. They know that job, so just allow them to. The last model 6. Key consideration for the move. Once the move is to happen, there are things that needs to do, and most of the times we suggest that 6 weeks before the move, your office, the planning should have started, and people should be aware. In fact, you should start drumming it regularly. You need to meet with the IT department to discuss the time critical components of moving their servers and desktop equipment, assign move coordinators, role to individuals within each department. Each department just gets move coordinators within them. Schedule standing weekly meetings with assigned move coordinators to discuss the progress and the oncoming move. Schedule kickoff meetings where everybody will be discussing, and then advise the landlord of the original of the place you are living and to the new destination facilities so that everybody knows when the move is happening. Renew and clearly define all responsibilities to the person that have been allocated to. Week 4 of the move, you need to finalize your move schedule, review schedule and responsibilities, create employee move pack and instructions, prepare agenda and content for employee move orientation meetings, identify high value items, discuss coverage during move with the insurance carriers, like I said, the goods in transit insurance. Subject to the move, conduct employee move orientation meetings, distribute employee move packs, schedule cartons delivery to employees to pack personal items to workstations, schedule necessary staff to be on site during the move, establish method of communication for the move either by cell phones or radios, depending on what you are used to or easy to manage. 2 weeks to the move, cartons and labels delivered. Be sure that they have been delivered to the old office so people can begin to pack their items. Define lost and found area in the new office location. Create an emergency readiness plan for move, for the elevator maintenance where there is building contact, where there is contact personnel for IT and other suppliers, and then also the contact of police or the telephone, telecommunication suppliers, depend on where your office is located. The week to the move, confirm that the all building reservations, conduct the supervisor orientation meetings, complete review of labeling and items requiring special care, walk the space and check the confirm schedule of those who will be on site during the move, post floor plan, office layout diagram, and individual plaques, and on cubicles. Survey the new office for any form of damage to be sure that the place is okay. The move day itself, assign move coordinators to the original and the destination site. Be prepared to direct movers and answer questions regarding placement of items. Monitor any items going to the designated lost and found areas. Complete final walkthrough with supervisors at the old facility to ensure that all items have been moved. Fine-tune, clean, and rearrange at the end of the job. After the move, this is also very critical. Manage inquiries from employees. Make lists of items requiring attention. Survey for any potential property damage to the space or your assets. Schedule follow-up crew for post-move activities so that they can go to the old facility that you move everything that you are supposed to move. Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of the slides I'll be taking today. So I'll take our questions now. If you have any questions or contributions for the class? Okay, I can see Chukwemeka. Let me take you first, and then I'll take Abbas.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can go on.
Okay. There's this contribution I would like when you were making your presentation, when we talked about factors to take into account under partitions. I work in an organization where we use the aluminum partitions and open floor plans, and we had an incident one time.
Hello? Hello, can I hear you again?
The only thing I see
It's not clear.
lower partition, lower Tijani. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, you can go on now. Yes, you can go on now.
Okay, great. I was talking about the kind of partitions that we use sometimes in offices where we have translucent or maybe opaque materials at the lower. There was an incident where somebody had, I think, either a seizure or a heart attack, but the bottom line is that we lost the person because nobody could see through the glass, or rather through the opaque material, to see that the person had fallen and the person was actually struggling. It was when they checked the CCTV camera later on, material, the kind of material we use when we also do these partitions. I'm referring to page 21 of the presentation. I think if we add that, thank you.
Yeah, I like that contribution. Personally, what I normally do, because I do a lot of corporate interiors and renovation for offices, and we use glass partitions. I always ensure that they don't blind up the offices, especially for glass partitions. They must have spaces in between it when you are applying the frosted film, so that people can see through to see at least to a good level, to know what is happening inside such offices. Something that is worth considering. Thank you very much. Abbas, you wanted to ask a question before we go to Abiodun? Okay, so Abbas is not ready. Abiodun, please.
Okay, thank you, architect. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. So during the introduction, I think you mentioned that it is possible to have a kind of renegotiation of the current lease and other term of the agreement. So my question is coming, with the country where we are, Nigeria, and we know that virtually everything is going up yearly. There is always inflation here and there. So what kind of negotiation again can we have when initially, before you move into a space, you already have an agreement signed, sealed? So what kind of how do I put it now? What kind of agreement again can we come around to have?
Okay, I get you. I get your question. Normally, it's very difficult when you have already signed your lease agreement. It's difficult because once you are going to get a sublease into your lease agreement, your estate agent or the property managers, we know that you want to sublease the property, and then they will increase your rent to be able to accommodate it. Or sometimes they outrightly will refuse. It depends on what the location of the property and how important that property is to you. If you have an opportunity to change location when you are going into a new facility, the advice is that ensure that there's a sublease clause inside your lease agreement, it is always better for you. It will help you to be able to manage whatever exigencies that may arise. But most property owners, they already know once you are having sublease agreement, they know that you will want to leave probably in the future. So they will add a little percentage to your cost for the property. But no matter what they add, it's always cheaper than when you actually do the sublease. Let me give an example. Some years back, there's a particular company that we used to manage their facility, and at the time they were occupying about 4 floors in a particular building in Victoria Island. And then we got there, they wanted to do some remodeling, partitioning, and all that. And when we got there, we discovered, I just discovered that some floors we don't have enough people. And I asked the managers, what's going on now? Your staff are on leave or what? And they said, you have some people were posted to other states, they were posted to different units, and that and that. I said, when are they coming back? They said they're not sure, but they're just keeping their spaces that they may come back. And by the time we went through the building, we discovered that out of the 4 floors that are complying, everybody can fit into 2 floors. And I advised them, I said, do you have a sublease in your lease agreement? They said they don't know, they have to go and check. I said, peradventure, if you have it, you can lease out 2 floors and use 2 floors. Good enough, they had the sublease agreement in that system. And what they did is that they now got another company to lease floors. And to their shock, by the time they were giving out those 2 floors, the money that the company was paying to them was enough to handle their own payment for the 4 floors. Because they had done some improvement to the space. So, but at the end of the day, they now discovered that when the people paid them the money for the lease, for the 2 floors, they were not able to use that money that the persons paid them to pay for their rent. So at the end of the day, it was a total profit for them. When that happened, in fact, they had to stay in that. They were thinking of relocating from that facility. They had to stay for that facility for another 6 years. In fact, they paid 6 years up front to the landowners. And those ones were happy that they've gotten big money, not knowing that these ones have been able to secure the money they have spent for rent by themselves, so that it's as if they are not paying anything for rent for that period. So it's something that you must be open to. Sometimes you may have that kind of advantage, sometimes you may not. But it is important that if you are in a new facility, ensure that you have that sublease, especially if it's an office, ensure that it is there to help. Thank you. Abbas, you wanted to say something the other side?
Yeah, thank you. My network went off, so I'm back. Thank you for the engagement. In actual fact, if one looks at the economic situation these days, things are not stable. But in a situation whereby from the movement plan, the budgeting, everything has been articulated, but suddenly, even from the MOU that was signed, is there no all this mentality of Nigerian owners of space, since it is not the company's space, or let me say the building itself, it's not the company that is holding it. Supposing we hire it or we lease it, and suddenly they just come, they say they want to use it, or one of the family members is coming to Nigeria to use it, or they are starting a new business, all those blah 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 blah. Unfortunately, the company is not even having money to say they want to hire a new place. And despite that, one has signed an agreement. Sometimes some of these owners, some of them, ironically or whatever, they don't like involving lawyers. I quite understood that recently. They believe that you should deal with them directly. So if one is having a challenge like that, what do you think is a solution that can really make the company move and the business will not be altered? Thank you.
Okay, let me say first of all, you should not get into any form of move that will be involving the property, and you will not get a lawyer involved. Especially if you are dealing with a company, it is a total no. Especially if it's your office or company work, ensure you have a lawyer. And your company is supposed to even have a company secretary who is normally a lawyer to be able to manage such loose ends. Once you have that kind of agreement that is signed and is watertight, the property owners will have to wait till your lease expires before they can come and tell you to leave. They cannot just wake up to tell you to come and leave. If you have like a 5-year running lease, you have paid your rent for 5 years and you are using it. They cannot come at the 3rd year and say, okay, come and leave, we want to use our property. It's not possible. It doesn't work like that. It's not a residential, it's not a one-man house that you can do that. In an office, you will sue them and they will pay you. In fact, they know this thing, so they will even do it. And these have been involved in that kind of activity for a while now. And I can tell you for free that at every point in time where you are renting a space for an office, the lease agreement is very, very important. Don't fall into a mistake where you go and deal with the landlord alone without involving lawyers. Please don't ever fall into. If you get into that mistake, there's nothing you can do. They will just treat you and take them, get you out of the property. But if you involve a lawyer, it will tell you. In fact, it's specified there that you have normally what would be 5 years lease, renewable every 3 years. So at the expiration of the first 5 years, you have the option of renewing for another 3 years. So you are paying for 3 years and your lease will run that way. Or you can decide that, oh, I don't want to use it, I go to a new facility. So those are some of the ways. It must be structured, it must be a structured thing so I don't fall prey to all those kind of issues where you have landlords that will tell you that they want to use the building, you have to leave and all that, and then you start running helter-skelter. But anyway, just know that you can take those things to the court, and the landlord or the landlady or the property owners will pay dearly for having you take that kind of decision. Thank you. I see Tony.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, class. So I want to ask, like, if your landlord suddenly comes up with an increase in the rent, do you have a right to contest it? And then, like, how do you go about it?
Okay. Thank you for that question. So you have a right to contest your lease increase in the rent, especially when you have a structured agreement. In fact, this kind of thing has happened to me before. I had a 5-year running lease, and then had an agreement to the property manager that that there will be no increment for the first 5 years, and then whatever increment that will happen after that 5 years will be coming not every year, will be coming every 3 years. So one day they just woke up within the 5 years and said, oh, by the 3rd year they're going to increase it. I just referred them to the lease agreement. And they were like, okay, if you don't want to pay, you can leave. I said, no, I'm not prepared to leave because I need to run out my lease. When they discovered that, oh, that I was schooled in this aspect, they have to back down. They went to their lawyers and the lawyer explained to said, this guy is right. You have to wait for the 5 years and then increase it. When we got to the 5 years, they got an arbitrary increase. I went back and renegotiated. And I told them I had done some improvements in your property, which they came and they verified and they saw. And then they were able to net out. And the lawyer was even their lawyer was there to educate them that you have a good tenant that is maintaining your property, that it will be wise of you to allow them stay here and keep maintaining your property and ensure that the increment is being managed. And that is what happened. So you must, one of the things that you must get to do is you need to get educated with the issue of property law. Just read it. It will help you and know what your rights are and how to be able to manage both as tenants and landlords, and know what the ways and areas begin to manage these things when it comes, because conflict will always come. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Any other one? Okay. If we don't have any other questions, I hope that you have learned one or two things in class today.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Madam, where have you been?
Well done, sir. You made mention of it's advisable to move at once instead of moving in bits. Can you explain more in that aspect? Because for me, in that regard, I would prefer moving in bits to ensure that items are not missing and there is no damage, and ease of organization and all those things. Then setting up of the new office space that you are moving to. So can you help me explain, expatiate on that, why we need to move at once instead of in bits?
Okay, from experience, if you are moving your personal house, you can move in bits. If you are doing office, it is better to do it once. It is safer, because if you are doing it in bits, things will get missing. And it's better to employ professional movers. They come, they do all the packaging at once and take it to the new office, and then you set up in the new office. If you move in piecemeal, it becomes messy. Things will get missing on the way, you won't be able to manage it. And from experience and from a professional viewpoint, I don't understand why you should decide to do it in piecemeal. It's always, from all the moves that I have done, and I've seen it successful, it's been done within the shortest possible time. In fact, the highest time I've done for a move is 2 days. No matter how large it is, we just have barrage of trucks. They move the offices and they go and reassemble in their new. As they are moving and they're dumping, their furniture things are reassembling in the new place, and within 2 days, the main items have been moved. Then the other setup can now follow as it were. But in terms of the move activity itself, I don't advise that it should go more than 3 days max. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, any other
Good evening,
hand?
sir.
Yeah,
good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. My question is concerning churn.
Yes.
From your explanation, you explained about vertical and horizontal churn. I'm a bit confused here, because my prior understanding of churn is like movement of office seat or desks from one location in the space to another. But from your explanation, it sounds to me like the movement of staff, that's the workers, from one hierarchy to the other, or from the business into another business or away from the business. I want more clarification. Is the movement of within the space of movement of human, that's staff of the organization? I need more clarity on that. And then secondly, on space allocation option.
Let me take one at a time. I said, let me take one at. Hello?
Hello? Let me just give you the second question. You are not that loud or audible. Talking about benefit of hoteling, you mentioned that it's an opportunity for staff to mingle and collaborate. So I'm like wondering if they operate hoteling system where staff just come in once in a while, book a space or time and go out. How does that make staff interact or mingle more? Those are my questions.
Okay, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, but very faint.
Well, that will be from your own, because I'm shouting where I am right now. Well,
Okay.
Churn is not the movement of furniture. It's the movement of the human beings, the staff itself. Where there is rapid promotion, they are going up. That's vertical. And when that happens, it means that you need to create more spaces in terms of you can change furniture. There are some offices where general staff that sit in the open offices, they have a cluster seats. They sit in cluster of 4, cluster of 6. But as they grow in with the ladder, they begin to have their own personal workspace before they now begin to have their own enclosed offices. So the more they move, the more innovations we do within the office spaces. That's why that is important. Then the other one of having churn, that people are leaving, that's horizontal churn. People are leaving the organization. It means that you have less and less people within the office space. And then once you are having that, it means that you need to do your head count and replan the general spaces for the office and look at the utilization, and then the principles that we discussed, you just apply them. I hope I've answered that. Then the second one, you talked about hoteling system. Now, hoteling system is such a manner that when you have very big organizations, let's say you have an organization with like 1,000 staff, is when probably you meet people from different departments at the times that you are coming to work, not people within your immediate department. By the time you are coming, you meet people from several departments from different countries in the same, because you are going to, normally it's operated on an open office. Where you book your space, you come, you're working for a week in the office, you come, you meet the staff. Oh, are you a staff here? I'm just meeting here for the first time. You introduce yourself, and then, and that happens. Especially also for organizations that have staff scattered across geopolitical regions, where they come to points where they come to their head office to work. So it's also another way of collaborating and meeting with general staff. So it's also that opportunity. It's not just when you have everybody working on the same place at the same time that you meet people. You also meet more people when you are in the hoteling system. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, do we have any other one? Okay. I can't see any more hands, so I want to say thank you again for connecting to this class. And I'm sure that you learned one or two things. And our point of mind to convince another in this class. Speaking again Friday, and have a good
Amen. Thank you, sir. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless you too.